Welcome to today's Thought for the Day. I'm Paul Hardy, I'm the Vicar at St Peter's, and it's really great to welcome you as we look together at Luke's Gospel. Today we're thinking about that section, chapter 5, verses 27 to 39. And if you want to follow it, do have a look in the Bible now. Well, it's 2 weeks since the lockdown began. It's getting harder, isn't it, to remember what life was like before it all started. Social distancing and social isolating have become the new norm. Now, of course, none of us like change. As somebody once said, constant change is here to stay. This call to change, of course, lies at the heart of the message of Jesus. He calls us into a whole new way of living as we accept his offer of new life and hope and put God at the centre of all that we do and all that we are. Life can never be the same again. That's well shown in the story that we have in this passage. It's the call of Levi, or Matthew as we would more commonly know him as. Levi was a tax collector. He earned his money by taking taxes off people and indeed overtaxing them for the Roman occupiers. When Jesus said to him, "Follow me," we are told that Levi got up, left everything, and followed him. Immediately on that call that he heard from Jesus, he left his secure life, he left his friends, his family, and he set out to follow Jesus. It was an unreserved response. No doubt he didn't know what lay ahead of him, and yet he was sure that the future for him, and indeed for the world, lay with Jesus himself. I suppose in our current situation, we hear that call again in our own lives. Jesus calls us to entrust our lives to him, our relationships and everything we have that we place into his hands. In that way, we're part of what God is doing, not only for us, but for the whole world. And despite the uncertain future that we face, just as Matthew did, we can be confident that God's plans for us and our world are secure. Levi wasn't half-hearted when it came to responding. We're told that it was an all or nothing response. He left everything. And Jesus makes the point of what that means in the picture at the end of the passage. He talks there about new wine and wineskins. As he says, no one pours new wine into old wineskins. He says that if you do that, not only do you lose the wine, but you actually lose the wineskins as well. And that's his point, that if we're to follow Jesus, it's no good trying to, in a sense, bolt on the life of Jesus onto the rest of our lives, reckoning that we can remain much the same as we were, doing the things that we want with Jesus alongside. Following Jesus is a whole lot more radical than that. No, Jesus says, new wine must be poured into new wineskins. I wonder what that would mean for you and me when we think about that. What sort of change does that require? That our attitudes, our thoughts, our habits, our lifestyle, and indeed our relationships are all submitted to Jesus, to follow his way rather than simply pleasing ourselves. What does that look like on a day-to-day basis? I find that's a challenge, and I know that for myself, I'm a person of routine. I don't like change. I'd much prefer that things remain the same. And yet the message of Jesus doesn't give us that, it doesn't allow us to do that. He calls us to think about the new ways in which we can relate to him, the new things we can learn from him, the new ways that we can love other people, and the new ways that we can trust him. In this time of lockdown, what a great opportunity to be reflecting on those things, to think about what the life of Jesus does mean and can mean for us. As a church, we're providing lots of resources. Go to the website, to our social media sites, and you'll find them. Ways in which we're encouraged to think differently about what it means to follow Jesus, perhaps more radically than we've dared to before. And that's easier, isn't it? Like Matthew, when, in a sense, so much is taken from us and we're left with not a lot but ourselves and that relationship with him. Those resources will help us to go deeper into the Bible, to be more prayerful. So why not take the time to explore those in these coming days? Let's learn the new ways that we might relate to Jesus, as Levi did in his life. Levi left everything to follow Jesus. The first thing that happened was that he held a party for his friends and family, to meet Jesus and to hear about this amazing message and to meet this amazing man. Of course, we're not at a time when we can hold parties, but let's look to that day when we can, together, celebrate the new life that Jesus brings.